1,124 feet of track, 68 miles per hour at top speed, 7 loops and twists. Could you handle it? In this speech, I'm going to talk about roller coasters. Roller coasters are a fun and thrilling form of entertainment, but there is much to learn about them. Well, I love roller coasters, and I'm excited to inform you about different types, along with some basic roller coaster physics and specific rides. So let's begin our ride of a lifetime by talking about wooden and steel types of roller coasters. All of the first coasters were made of wood, which began to change during the 1960s. The only type of wooden coaster is just a regular sit-down type, and due to its structure, the cars must always sit on the tracks for stability and safety. Today, most coasters are made of steel instead of wood. The most common steel coaster is also a regular sit-down type, which is capable of inversions. An inversion is part of a roller coaster that turns riders upside down. A couple examples of inversions are loops, corkscrews, and twists. Another type of roller coaster is the stand-up coaster, where the riders are held in a standing position throughout the ride. This type is also capable of inversions. One of my favorite types of roller coasters is called a winged coaster, where the track is not below you, nor is it above you, but it is to the side of you. 2 riders are placed on either side of the train. This roller coaster can do inversions. 2 other types of roller coasters are the fixed and swinging suspended types, which hang below the track. The fixed coaster can do inversions, while the swinging one can't. So now that I've discussed some roller coaster types, let's move on and talk about a few essential roller coaster physics. Gravity may be considered the most important force to a roller coaster. Gravity is what pulls objects, including us, to the ground. If we had no gravity, the coaster could reach the top of the hill and then keep stationary. In the book, How Stuff Works by Marshall Brain, copyright 2001, a roller coaster requires G-force to keep the car on the tracks. G-force is force acting upon an object that is spun with high acceleration. An example of G-force may be shown when you fill a bucket with water and spin it in overhead loops. You'll notice that, if fast enough, no water comes out. The water is forced against the bottom of the bucket when you spin it, and this action is shown on a roller coaster loop. The riders are like the water and the car is like the bucket. Marshall Brain, author of the previous cited book, also states that potential and kinetic energy are both very important to a roller coaster. In addition, pbslearningmedia.org, accessed on May 10, 2015, also states that potential energy is the energy that an object has as a result of its position. Potential energy is energy that has not yet been released. So when the coaster car goes up the first hill, it builds up potential energy, which is later released at the top of the hill. PBS also states that a book placed on a shelf possesses potential gravitational energy. If that book were moved to a higher shelf, it would gain potential energy. So a couple steel sit-down coasters that require potential and kinetic energy are the Diamondback, which is located at Kings Island in Mason, and the Magnum XL200, which is located at Cedar Point in Sandusky. The Diamondback has a large track with large orange pillars supporting it. It was built in 2009 and has a 215 feet drop. Its car resembles a snake and rides smoothly across the tracks, compared to a wooden coaster. The Magnum XL200 was built in 1989 and was the fastest, tallest, and steepest coaster at the time. It was considered the first of the large modern coasters. Its track is also red and goes through a couple tunnels. Two specific suspended coasters are the which is a fixed suspended one, which is at Kings Island, and the Iron Dragon, which is a swinging suspended coaster at Cedar Point. The Banshee was very recently built in 2014 and has a record for longest inverted coaster. Its track color is purple with large dark blue supporters. Its car color is aqua blue with a little bit of yellow, which slightly departs from the Banshee's unique blue and purple motif. The Iron Dragon is a swinging suspended coaster and it doesn't do loops. Its track is red and goes through a small forest. It concludes with a pretzel weave above a misty pond at medium speed. So now, our journey is almost over. But before then, let's review all that we've talked about. First, we discussed some roller coaster types, which were wooden and steel types. Then we moved on to talk about some basic roller coaster physics, which were gravity, g-force, and potential and kinetic energy. Then we ended a ride of a lifetime by talking about some specific coasters. So now, our journey is over, and perhaps soon you'll be riding many thrilling coasters and also experiencing the excitement of their speed, twists, and turns.